In 2002, Nokia's chief designer walked into a boardroom and showed his executives the future. A color touchscreen, one button, browse the web, find a restaurant, play a game, all from a device that fit in your pocket. It worked. They didn't release it. 5 years later, Steve Jobs walked on stage and showed the world the same thing. And Nokia, the company that had invented it, watched someone else take the credit. This is how that happened. To understand what Nokia lost, you first have to understand what Nokia was. In the 1990s, Nokia was not just a phone company, it was the phone company. At their peak, they held over a third of the entire global mobile phone market. 1 in every 3 phones on Earth was a Nokia. They were a Finnish paper company that had reinvented itself so completely that their name had become synonymous with the device itself. If you had a phone in 1999, it was probably a Nokia. By the early 2000s, they were the most valuable brand in Europe. Bigger than Mercedes. Bigger than SAP. Worth more than most countries' entire technology sectors combined. And they had something nobody else had. Frank Nuovo. Nuovo joined Nokia in 1995 as chief of design. He was obsessive, visionary, and completely convinced that the phone was about to become something nobody had imagined yet. In 2002, he built the Proof, a prototype device with a color touchscreen above a single button. It could browse the internet, find local restaurants, play games, and order products, all from your pocket. He demonstrated it to Nokia's leadership personally. Their response was not excitement. Nokia's revenue depended on selling phones through carriers. Verizon, AT&T, the networks. Carriers wanted simple devices that kept people paying for calls and texts. A miniature internet computer in your pocket threatened that entire ecosystem. Carriers didn't want it. Nokia needed carriers. So the prototype went into a drawer. Nuovo tried again in 2004, the Nokia 7710, a full 3.5-inch touchscreen smartphone. Real, commercial, on shelves in stores. Then Nokia cancelled the entire software platform it ran on, before a single developer could build an app for it. The phone existed. Nobody could do anything with it. Nokia had spent $40 billion on research and development over the previous decade, 4 times what Apple spent in the same period. They had the engineers, the budget, the prototype, and the head start. And twice, they chose their existing business model over the future. In 2004, Apple started Project Purple, 1,000 engineers, completely secret. Their goal? Build the device Nokia kept refusing to sell. On January 9, 2007, Steve Jobs walked on stage. Nokia's response was to call the iPhone too expensive and too limited. Their CEO said it would never appeal to business customers. Analysts agreed. Within 2 years, Nokia's market share had collapsed. Android arrived. iOS grew. Nokia had no answer because their software, Symbian, had been built for a world that no longer existed. They tried everything. A partnership with Microsoft, a new operating system, a new CEO brought in from outside to save them. Nothing worked. In 2013, Microsoft bought Nokia's phone division for $7.2 billion. 2 years later, Microsoft wrote off most of that investment as a loss and quietly shut it down. The company that had been the most valuable brand in Europe, gone. Thousands of engineers lost their jobs. Entire campuses in Finland closed. A country that had built its modern economy around one company watched that company disappear. Frank Nuovo left Nokia in 2006, 1 year before the iPhone launched. He saw what was coming. He had always seen what was coming. He said it himself. "Oh my God, we had it completely nailed." I was heartbroken when Apple got the jump on this concept. When people say the iPhone is unique, that upsets me. Nokia didn't lose because they lacked talent. They had Nuovo. They didn't lose because they lacked money. They had $40 billion. They didn't lose because they couldn't see the future. They lost because seeing the future and acting on it are completely different things. And every time Nokia saw it, their existing business told them to look away. Kodak did the same thing with digital cameras. Nokia did it with smartphones. The pattern is always identical. A company at the top, an engineer who sees what's coming, executives who protect today's revenue over tomorrow's survival. The engineer ends up being right. The company ends up being a lesson. This is what Untold Inc. is here for. They were wrong.